There's a lot of people who think death is the end. They think we vanish without a trace, leaving nothing but a rotting corpse that has as much to do with who we were as the molding shirt we were wearing. Those people have never heard the echo of the dead, the last thought someone ever had before they die. That stays rooted to the place, almost like a tree planted in their honor. It's getting dark. I hear that one a lot. Or, I wonder if she'll miss me. Or take me home. God, or things of that nature. I don't know how it works, but ever since my little brother's death when I was young, I've started hearing the echo of all the people who have died in any given location. That's why I'll never set foot in a hospital. My mom tried to take me once, for a sprained wrist. But I couldn't get within 100 feet of that place before thousands of whispered echoes started flooding my mind. I couldn't take it. I just bolted and ran the second I got out of that car. Later, a therapist told me that I was suffering from PTSD after what happened to my brother. But I never believed it. The echoes are too real, too close, and I hear them wherever I go. You'd be amazed at how many people have died in the most innocent places. I can hear the whispers in the park, where some geezer must have keeled over from a heart attack or something. Sometimes they are muttered screams along the highway or a sharp turn in a road. Even at the coffee shop at the end of my street has an echo of, "The ambulance should have been here by now." And then there was Ferryman's Lake. This was years later when I was a senior in high school. The whole class had agreed to go to this remote lake for ditch day at the end of the year. The atmosphere was electric. Music blasting in the cars, beers in the trunk, and that desperate, almost maniacal energy of anticipation, tinged with heavy goodbyes. I could hear the whispers long before we arrived. I didn't want to be the weird kid that day. I just wanted to be normal and celebrate with my friends. I tried my best not to listen. I'd got pretty good at tuning it out. But this time was different. These whispers weren't nostalgic muses. They weren't profound or contemplative or sad. There was nothing but absolute mind-numbing terror. And it just kept getting louder as we approached the lake. "You feeling okay?" Jessica, the kind of girl who makes smart men do stupid things, asked me as we parked. Of course, I'm just tired of the drive. I lied. I think she said something else too, but I couldn't even hear her over the echoed screaming. It was the loudest I've ever heard, even louder than the hospital. This close, I can finally start distinguishing some words too. Did something touch my leg? What the fuck is that thing? The 5 other cars had all parked on the graveled shore. Kids were unloading picnic baskets and stereos. I sat in the car, completely frozen by the tumult of maddening echoes. I can't breathe. Get out of the water. Get out. Are you getting out or what? Jessica asked again. I had to stare at her lips to understand what she was saying. She met my gaze while she casually stripped her t-shirt to reveal a well-employed bikini top. Then the flash of a smile I couldn't return. I nodded through the numbness, climbing out of the car to gaze at the calm blue water. Not a ripple disturbed the tranquil mask, not a hint of what could be under there. There was a ferry tied up along the bank, on a cobblestone cottage nearby. A few kids were already beginning to investigate. "Don't go." I couldn't tell whether a whisper or a shout escaped my lips, but Derek, one of the guys hauling beer out of the trunk, was the only one who heard me. "What's the matter? You're not afraid of the water, are you?" He must have said it loud enough for me to be able to hear it so clearly. Jessica was already ankle-deep in the water, but she glanced back. Her smile wasn't for me anymore. It was tinged with a hint of mockery. Everyone wouldn't be laughing if they knew what was really going on in my head. "What are you idiots doing? Get out! Get out!" Someone else had saved me from having to say it, though. An old man, more beard than face, was standing in the doorway of a stone house. One of the kids said something, but I couldn't hear it over the insistent, echoed screams. I forced myself to get closer. "Legend has it that something lives in the water near this shore," the old man replied loudly. Everyone was out of the cars now, 26 kids in total, all gathering around this stone cottage. "Something has hidden since before mankind first walked the earth," the man was saying. "Something that strikes once without warning, and once is all it needs. Of course, if you prefer, you can fork over $5 each, and I'll sail you to safety on the other side." "What's to stop the monster from swimming over there?" Jessica asked. She was still smiling. I could tell she wasn't buying it. No one was. "Too shallow for it," the old man grunted. $100 for the lot of you, special price. Better safe than sorry." "No way, I want to see the monster," Derek said. He was almost up to his waist now, smacking the still water to send ripples echoing into the deep. Several kids were starting to follow his lead. "We should do it," I announced loudly, straining to keep my voice calm. "Hey, look, I'll pay for it, okay? The ferry will be fun." There were so many eyes on me while I fished out a brand new 100 that I got for my graduation present. So much for being normal. But at least I can live with myself this way. The old man snapped the money out of my hand before I could even extend my arm. Smart boy. He winked, his eye glittering with sly recognition. "All aboard, don't be shy. Bags and heavy stuff go in the middle." I avoided eye contact while boarding. For a terrible second, I looked behind me and saw I was the only one. The people in the water, or those already setting up their stuff on the shore, were obviously reluctant. They all looked back and forth at each other, trying to read the invisible will of the group. "Last one is going to work at fast food for life," Jessica shouted, flinging her backpack into the middle of the ferry. She gave me a quizzical smirk and mouthed the words, "You owe me one." If only she knew how much. Soon her friends were following her, and a moment later the whole senior class was conversing on the boarding plank. Converging on the boarding plank. I was hoping the echoes would disperse as we got past the shore. They didn't. Dozens of unique voices soon became hundreds as we approached the center of the lake. Echoes rebounding off echoes, vibrating and growing, flowing and slithering into my head like persistent, intrusive thoughts. Cries for help, screams of pain, or just the animal below, from the minds utterly devoured by fear. The ferryman hadn't mentioned the monster again. It was all tourist trivia and blithering about local plants and animals. He kept looking at me and grinning, though, the discolored motley of his teeth appearing almost feral at times. The further we went, the more excited he grew, spewing spittle onto his beard with every other explosive word or declaration. The continual pounding of sound was making me nauseous. I just closed my eyes and waited for this part to be over. I tried not to think about what might be in the water. There were so many voices that I had trouble keeping them straight. But I made a game out of trying to untangle them. Even so, it took several minutes of concentration before this came to the surface. I never should have trusted the old man. It sounded like a young boy around 12. No older than my brother was when he died. I glanced at the ferryman who was leaning against the wheel, staring wistfully at us. No one was paying him any attention anymore, not even when his pale tongue flicked greedily over his lips. The old man flipped something, and the motor gave out. He stretched luxuriously in the sun before making his way to the railing. "This is a good place to take a dip if anyone wants to swim," he called out. "Real shallow here, and if you're lucky, you'll see some turtles." "You sure it's safe?" someone asked. "I'll prove it." Flash goes that feral grin. Several people laughed and gasped as the old man clambered up onto the railing, launching himself into a graceful dive and vanishing with barely a ripple. Other people would be jumping in any second, and there was nothing I can do to stop them. I closed my eyes again, sifting through the mounting pressure of echoes. Where'd the ferryman go? He's not human. Get back to the boat. I opened my eyes again. There was a loud splash and a cheer of laughter which accompanied someone tumbling into the water. I was out of time. I leapt behind the wheel, turning the key and starting the engine. People were shouting, but I didn't care. It didn't matter who was already in the water. Every instinct was screaming for me to just save as many as I could. The controls were intuitive, though. I pushed the level full throttle. We were accelerating quickly. Faster than I thought we would. The laughter around me was turning into distress, but I was ready to fight anyone who tried to stop me. No one had time, though. We were moving for less than 10 seconds before something exploded out of the water behind us. By the time I looked back, it was gone. All I could see was a massive, misshapen shadow underneath the surface, twisting and morphing and growing by the second. He's not human, then what the fuck is he? There wasn't time to find out. Real screams were starting to mix with the echoes now. "What are you doing? Jessica and the old dude are still in the water." Why her of all people? Was it some kind of cosmic joke that made her jump in first? No, that's just who she was. She was a brave and enthusiastic leader. And it was gonna get her killed. I slid the throttle down and the ferry slowed. I didn't even register what was going on without her as a choice. There was nothing I can do. Her head bobbed under as soon as the black shadow drew her near. There was a flash of scaly skin above the water, then a brief glimpse of Jessica's fingers clawing for the surface. Everyone on the boat was shouting, but soon they were going to just be echoes too. Churning water bubbled red, and I shoved the throttle again. The shadow was moving toward the boat, gliding directly under us. Louder than the echoes, louder than the thrashing water or the shouting kids, there was one more voice which joined a haunting chorus of the lake that day. It said, "Don't wait for me." And I didn't. I should have done more, said more while I had the chance, but I didn't. And now it's too late. Forever. And I'm so sorry. I think I'm the only one of us who keeps returning to that lake. I don't go in the water. But if I close my eyes and concentrate, sometimes I can still make out her pale voice peeking shyly from the wall of noise. Don't wait for me. I know she's right, but I'm still here, waiting, because in the end, an echo is all that will remain. I hope you ghouls enjoyed this video. I really liked recording it. I got into my character. I really like how you didn't really know if the main character was female or male. So you can kind of like put yourself in it if you want. But it was really interesting, and I really wish that they described what the hell this guy monster thing looked like, because I bet it was scary AF. Because now I'm really curious, and my mind is like, what the hell does it? I'm sure that's what the story's meant to do, but I really liked it, and I hope you ghouls did too. Christmas is like, what, a week away? So hopefully you guys have like a good holiday, good weekend. I mean, you know, you'll get a video on Friday, more than likely. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm excited because I have to host again. So, that's not going to be fun. I'm going to have a lot of dishes. So, yeah, ghouls, as always, last video will be on the top left. Next video will be on the bottom left. All my social medias are on the screen, as well as in the description box below. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you.